Hey guys, we don't need to spend too much time on YouTube to realise that it really is a base of operation for conspiracy theorists, big time. And of course, I have mentioned before that obviously a conspiracy being two or more people agreeing on some sort of deception of other people. Obviously conspiracies exist, and obviously over the years there's been some fairly major ones, so no doubt at all that conspiracies exist. But I think reasonable people can see that YouTube and the internet and the world in general is full of people that see conspiracies in places where they obviously aren't, you know. So unless you're prepared to believe that the moon landing was fake and that, you know, all the other endless conspiracies. So anyway, that's rather to debate which ones are conspiracies and which ones are just what happened. You know, did one nut take a gun into a room and shoot a president from a window? Is that more believable than a conspiracy of a group of people deciding to kill him? I mean, other people can debate that and probably will forever. There's lots of books and movies and debates, and it's all over the place, isn't it? But this video was prompted more by who is in on the conspiracy. And it's really interesting that 10, 15 years ago there was a whole rash of books and movies that came out about Illuminati. And, you know, Dan Brown's books and the movies that followed. And there was a lot, wasn't there, 10, 15 years ago? There was a lot of Illuminati type stuff going on. And of course, Illuminati's been spoken about for a long time, but just I'm talking about those booms that we get, the little like trends, fashion of different conspiracy groups being the blame of everything. So 10, 15 years ago, every conspiracy theory you heard, or most of the conspiracy theories you heard, had the Illuminati behind it, right? What I've been noticing recently, which is sort of makes me more uncomfortable, maybe some of you guys feel the same, is everything's the Zionists. So what triggered this video is I was watching a video about the Toronto mayor, you know, and you know, God, the guy's a mayor of a city, and you know, there's video about him taking crack, and there's you know, he's admitted he takes crack, and whether or not people can take crack and still be good contributing members of society, or whether it's fair to say that you know, what he does in his spare time has nothing to do with his job, as long as it doesn't affect his job, whatever. But the point is, if you're the mayor of a city, of a big city, you're going to be in the news, and if you take drugs and you're the mayor of a big city, you're definitely going to be in the news. I think it's just the way it is, isn't it? So there's a video on there, and there's everybody, and there's one guy on there blaming the Zionists, right? It's the Zionists. He was blaming the Zionists for hassling the mayor, right? And so I couldn't help myself, so I left a comment and said to him, you know, yes, it must be the Zionists, a bit too much sarcasm perhaps, but yeah, it must be the Zionists because, you know, usually politicians can take crack and no one says anything, right? Because, you know, any politician anywhere in the world admits to taking crack, it's going to be in the press, isn't it? You know, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I mean, and it wouldn't have to be an illegal drug. It could be anything along those lines. You know, he admits to using prostitutes, or you know, whatever it is. It's what the press do, and it's part of it's important for our freedoms and everything that we know what our leaders are doing, right? So it's the Zionists, right? All this stuff about this guy taking crack, and that video is about him dancing in the city council chambers, right? Which again, I see no problem with a dude dancing in the city council chambers. That's cool as well. But obviously, it's going to be in the news because he's a drug user, right? He's a drug user and a mayor, and he's dancing in city chambers. They're going to check this guy out, and whether the media judge it one way or another, they're reporting it. And maybe some people go, yeah, right on, that's the sort of mayor we want. Or other people go, no, that's not appropriate. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to get reported. But to blame the Zionists because it's reported, and it just seems to be, that seems to be the fashion at the moment. I keep thinking of those of you who know what were they called? The English comedian group, Monty Python, and there was a movie called Life of Brian, and these guys would get up and they'd make speeches about really bizarre things, and the big crowds would get behind them, and it was supposed to be about. It was a guy that had a parallel life to Jesus, right? So he's standing up and he's saying stuff, and everybody's getting behind him, and obviously that's human behaviour. So you get someone that's a good speaker, and it happens on the internet. A couple of the guys that were leaving comments on that YouTube video wrote really well, and it seems that there's a lot of people out there like that can write really, really well, and they can package up their ideas and their theories really well, and it appeals to the masses, and you can see what happens. You get some guy that leaves some comment that's really well written, but really when you look at it, it's the substance of it is just twisted shit. But because he's written so well, all the other semi-illiterate people that read it are so impressed with the way he's written it, they believe it. And then they get an example. And that's going to sound a little bit harsh, I know, but here's an example of the semi-illiterate people. Someone's read that, and then I responded to it, and then the response I got was from a guy saying, "You're a filthy Jewish Jap." What? So all he had to go on was the username, because I was using the Japan channel, right? Because usually I'm logged into the Japan channel. So all he saw was the Japan channel. So from that, I got, "You're a filthy Jewish Jap," which is, there probably are Jewish Japanese people, but I've never heard of one. And I'm not one. My meaning is that it's really interesting to watch that what seems to happen is that you get a mixture of reality and fantasy and paranoia, and someone who can write reasonably well, and it can draw in. It's the same as the Dan Brown books, isn't it? That he writes works of fiction basically to make a lot of money, and because he's an artist and it's his art, and then a whole heap of people jump on that, and then for 10 years we listened to everybody telling us that everything was Illuminati, the Kennedy assassination and everything that's been happening, the wars, Iraqi wars and everything else is all Illuminati. And I don't know if it was or wasn't, but it's interesting to notice that for 10 years it was all Illuminati, and now it's all Zionists. And I think the Zionist thing's bizarre because of course there's Zionists that are Jewish and there's Zionists that aren't, right? There's non-Jewish Zionists. There's people that believe that Israel should be a country. Well, it is a country. Israel is a country. So there's people that support Israel as a country, and there's people who don't. And it's bizarre that the Zionists be blamed for everything. And it just smacks of ignorance, as a lot of that sort of stuff does. But it just smacks of ignorance. But it's quite bizarre, and I think the fact that for 10 years everything was Illuminati, and now there's this trend of everything is the Zionists, and obviously what happens on the internet is you get these easily led minds, people who have minds that are easily led. You can see how Japan got walked into a war, and you can see how Germany got walked into a war, and you can see how America gets walked into wars regularly still. Germany and Japan was 70 years ago. America's still happening. Walking into a war going, "Oh, geez, we really shouldn't be in Afghanistan," and then walk into Iraq again, and then walk out and walk in again. You can see why. There's a huge percentage of the population that have minds that are really easily led. That you can convince them 10 years ago, you can convince these people it's all Illuminati. Now you can convince them all that it's all Zionists. And I think it's really interesting to watch and see what I mean. Have a look on YouTube or the internet in general, forums and things, and just watch what happens. You get one person who can write reason well. I mean, look at the leaders of the world over the years too. You get people like Adolf Hitler who could speak really well, and he'd get up and blame the Jews. Hey, sound familiar? It's all the Jews, right? But he was a powerful speaker, and he spoke really well, and he could convince everybody that what he was saying was true. And you can still see that there's still that majority of people that have minds that are easily led like that. You look at the comments, under YouTube videos, and you can see the same thing. You get someone who writes reasonably well. The substance of what they're saying is just total bullshit. But they can write reasonably well. And then all these other people follow them and go, yeah, man, and they thumb up their comment and they all support them and say, yeah, it's really brilliant. It's really interesting. It's really, really interesting that, first of all, the changing conspiracy. So who's next? I mean, it was the Illuminati and because it's always, before it was the CIA, it was always the CIA. And quite often it was, of course. Often it really was the CIA. But it's interesting that these trends, you can't say for 10 years it's all CIA's behind everything. And then for 10 years the Illuminati's behind everything. And now for 10 years the Zionists are behind everything. And it's sort of like the conspiracy theorists are disproving their own conspiracies because they keep changing who's responsible. If it really is the Illuminati, well, why are you blaming the Zionists now? Oh, of course, you could have people that are members of both groups. It could be a CIA person who's Illuminati and a Zionist. It's possible. It is possible. They could be behind everything. Bizarre. So just keep an eye out for this because it's pretty interesting to watch. It's an interesting little phenomenon, that you get these well-spoken guys that can word, or girls, who knows, that can word stuff reasonably well, and then all these people that follow them blindly but with no idea. You filthy Jewish Jap. I mean, what? Jewish Jap. What? And that's the sort of person that's supporting those guys, the Adolf Hitlers standing up there on the stage, and they're like, yay, So, and just another quick one too. Another quick one, because of course, whenever you get this, you always end up, that particular guy I was talking about was actually really good at writing really super insulting stuff, but using very intellectual type way of doing it. There's people that can do that on YouTube as well. That will, obviously your intellect is lacking if you think, he's basically calling the person stupid. Obviously your lack of informed opinion means you're basically calling the person stupid. And that guy was one of those guys who was really quite clever at writing really well, but basically just insulting people. And then you get this too. Anybody who doesn't believe these conspiracies. So if you didn't believe it was the Illuminati that killed JFK and you said so, they'd all say, "Oh, you're a fool. You're a sheep. You're a goat. You're a slave to the government. You're," what else do they say? "You're ignorant, you're blind," all that stuff that they say if you don't believe their conspiracy. So they told you it was the Illuminati that killed JFK, and you didn't believe it, so they abuse you for it. And then now they're telling you it's the Zionists, and if you don't believe that, they'll abuse you for it. Right? Because they get really emotional. This is a really interesting thing. Those of us who don't believe the conspiracies, I don't see very many people getting angry because they don't believe the conspiracy. "You conspiracy people are crazy, I hate you." You don't see much of that, do you? But you do see the opposite. Isn't it amazing how the people who don't believe the conspiracies are usually laughing, right? That tends to be the way some of us react to those conspiracy theories. Like, yeah, the moon landing was fake. The Russians were watching, they knew it was fake, but they didn't say anything, right? Even though the Cold War was at its peak, right, So we tend to laugh it off and go, yeah, it's pretty funny. But the conspiracy theorists themselves lose their minds if you say something about it, don't they? Not all of them, of course, but some of them. I mean, you get on some video that's talking about a conspiracy and you say you don't believe it, what's the reactions you get? Well, Jewish Jap. Because I didn't believe that the Toronto mayor's, presence in the media was because of Zionists, I was called a filthy Jewish Jap. And they lose their minds because we don't believe their conspiracy. That's interesting, isn't it? Why do they care so much if we believe their conspiracy or not? We don't care if they believe it or not. It's just funny for us, right? For some of us. Whether you guys agree with me or not, it's different. But, bizarre that they get so emotional about it. And then with those reactions too, leads me to the next little topic, guys, is that calling these people, the Jewish Jap guy, trolls. And I just refuse to use that word because I think there's a whole bunch of people, particularly the people that do that stuff, who separate trolling from real life. And I've actually had people send me private messages, people who've left really rude comments on my videos that I've deleted, and then they send me a private email and say, oh, look, sorry about that. I'm actually a decent person, but I just like to troll a bit on the internet. It's like a hobby, right? And there's that way of thinking that there's a whole bunch of people that think that trolling on the internet and behaving like that on the internet is different from real life. And that's why I refuse to use that word, is because, what? It's like saying, yeah, when I go to parties, I like to get drunk and molest women and punch out men. You know, I like to go pick fight. When I like to go to, normally I'm a really good person, but I just like to go to parties and get really drunk and pick fights with men and molest women. And it's just what I do. It's what I do for fun. And sort of separating it like it's not part of your personality. And I refuse to accept that. I think that we need a new word. And this is, I'm just going to throw this at the end of this video. We need a new word, because troll's no good. Troll gives the impression that it's something that they just do on the internet. And I don't think so. I think that the people that do that sort of stuff on the internet have got problems in real life. You can't say, oh, there's too much of this going on. I think that's the internet and that's my real life. And no, that's why these guys behave like they do. That's why they behave like they do. And I think that, no, they're not trolls, they're losers. And by loser, I just mean that anybody who's got a life that they're satisfied with, no matter what it is that they do, anybody that's happy in their life isn't going to be on the internet abusing people or picking fights with people or just generally upsetting people just for entertainment. That's not what healthy, well-balanced people do. So, you know, the reason they do that behaviour on the internet is because of their personality in real life. It's not some persona that changes when they start using the internet. It means that in their personality in real life, they've got some problems. You know, they're not happy with their life, or they're not satisfied with their life, or, you know, people who have happy, successful lives. I know lots of people, and I've told you guys this before, you know, I know one of the best pilots in Australia, I know, you know, famous or semi-famous musicians, I know, you know, an ambassador, American ambassador, and I know all these people that have made successes of their lives, and I know other people that just have small families and live in small homes modestly and go to work and work hard every day and come home at the end of the day, and I consider those people to be successful too. But my point is, I know, and you guys would know too, think about some happy, well-balanced people that you know, who are really happy in their lives and really well-balanced. Can you imagine those people on the internet abusing random people that they don't know for no reason? They wouldn't, right? Happy, well-balanced people with good lives don't just suddenly pick fights with people on the internet. And it happens all the time, doesn't it? You leave a comment on a video, you know, and they just lose. I left one recently, there was a gun one. And I left it, my comment was a bit provocative. I said, it's 2000, it was about all these guns, there's all these gun nuts, and they're all paranoid about people taking away their automatic weapons and stuff. And I just left a comment and said, it's 2013, you know, it's time to join the civilized world and give up the guns, you know. And I know it's a provocative comment, you know, but it's true. It's really true. So anyway, look, if people disagree, that would be fine. Look, no, it's not the point, you know, the point is to keep our civilized world. We need the guns or something like that. Some would be understandable, but just absolute full-on abuse. And as usual, because I was logged into the Japan channel, all racist abuse came out too, lots of racist abuse and all the rest of it, you know. Just lose their minds, and it's not necessary. So I would propose, we're looking for a name, okay? We're looking for a name we can call these people that isn't just for the internet, because troll means that they just do it on the internet. So I would propose something like loser, because, you know, whatever it is in their life that has the problem, they're not happy, well-balanced people that are abusing people for no reason. You know, if someone came up to you on the street and you're standing talking to someone else giving your opinion, and they come up and say, you're full of shit, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. What? You know, that would be a loser, right, that person. But also, I think there's other words like coward. Coward, you know, anybody that does it on the internet is a coward, because they're doing it on the internet. You know, and for one man to say to another man, or one boy to say to another man, something like that, on the internet is just cowardly. It's the same as when telephones, you know, kids used to call up people, and they still do. There's videos of this on the internet, people calling up people and abusing them on the phone and then hanging up and stuff like that. It's the same thing. It's just cowardly. Some anonymous person abusing someone on the internet, you know. It's just cowardly. So loser, coward, you know, annoying person. So looking for a word. I'm setting my default to loser, okay? And oh, look, here's a good thing. A couple of good things, guys. Google Plus, it turns out there is a couple of little things about it that are good. One is that if someone hassles you or gives you, you know, calls you a Jewish Jap or something, you can ban them, right? Which is the same as blocking them used to be on the old YouTube system. So you can click the thing and click ban this person, and you can ban the person. And not only does it block them from commenting on your channel like it used to, but it stops them commenting to you. And then you can go to their Google Plus page and you can mute them. And that's a good thing, because with the old YouTube system, if you could block them from your channel, but then what they could do, if you commented on one of somebody else's videos, then they could hassle you there, and then a notification of that would keep coming through YouTube, so you'd keep seeing their abuse. But if you ban them and mute them, you never see a comment from them again, which is really good. So Jewish Jap guy and the other, you know, people with their random abuse like that, you can push ban and you can push mute, and you never see a comment from them again, which is fantastic. Wouldn't that be great if that existed in real life? Some sort of magic remote control, and when someone was really, really annoying, you could just go bleep and you just never see them again. Be good, wouldn't it? Mute. And they just disappear, and you never see or hear from them again. They just disappear off the face of the earth. You're craving them. So yeah, that's a good thing. There's a good thing. So anyway, what are we going to call these people that randomly abuse people? And again, look, I think different opinions are great. Different opinions are great. 2 points I just want to make at the end here, because different opinions are great. And you know, people talk about things. I disagree with you. I think that, you know, guns are important for this reason or whatever. I think that those sorts of discussions are important. But I'm talking about the people that just randomly abuse you. You know, calling someone a Jewish Jap isn't achieving anything. It's just showing a lot of ignorance. And that's often the case with these people too. They show how stupid they really are with their comments. Because it's like, Jewish Jap, dude, you know. Go do some homework. Go do your geography homework, will you? You know, really? Seriously? You know, there's that, isn't there? There's that. So, yeah. The other thing is too, someone pulled me up recently because they spotted I'd been given some grief by someone, and I gave them some back, and I have been known to do that. Usually I just go for that block and that mute thing because it's good, but occasionally I do give them some back too, because it's just like, you know, come on. You know, they come at you with that stuff. So Jewish Jap person, I told him first that he's obviously showing he's ignorant and a racist. You know, he's a racist and ignorant. And then delete block. So I'd give him a little bit back. But yeah, I think one thing that people do say is ignoring trolls. Ignoring them is definitely the way to go. And with that feature, we can all do that. But yeah, I think we still need a name for them. I think we need to stop calling them trolls, because I think that whole concept of it's only something you do on the internet and it's not real life, so it's okay. You can see there's a lot of people that think that way. You know, there's a lot of cowardly losers who think that way. That they think it's okay to get on YouTube and just abuse everybody. And when you go to their channels and to block them or ban them, and look at the comments, that you can see sometimes they have their feed turned on so you can see what they've been doing. And you'll often see that every comment they've made on every video they've watched has been an insult or abuse at somebody. And it's just what they do. They sit there and write one abusive comment after another, you know, which is just... And again, the mute block thing's the answer for these people. Mute and ban them so that we don't have to see them anymore. But I think it's that whole concept of, you know, oh, I'm a lovely person, but I just do this as a hobby on the internet. No, you're not. Sorry, no. If you spend your day abusing people on YouTube, you're not a good person. you're a loser because you've got nothing better to do with your time, nothing more productive. It's such a negative way to spend time, just abusing people all day. What a negative thing to do. That's all you can do. You can't produce anything positive. So you're a loser, and you're a coward if you do that, because that's not what real people do. That's not what real men do. At the risk of sounding macho, it's just true. It's not a manly thing to do, anonymously abusing people. No, sorry. If you want to abuse people, do it face to face. Go and stand in front of people and abuse them face to face. If you really want to. At least that's not. It's rude, of course, but it's not as cowardly as doing it on the internet, which is just cowardly, So anyway, guys, let's exercise our ban and mute buttons. And please tell me a word. I'm looking for a word. I propose loser. That when we see these people, we don't say he's just a troll. Ignore him, he's just a troll. He's a loser. Ignore him, he's just a loser. That's what I propose. But if you guys have got a better word, let's see if we can find a better word than that. Cowardly loser. Ooh. Anyway, more videos coming soon.